I am back with another conversation with a gray area drinking coach, and today you all are in for a real treat with my senior master coach. Her name is Andrea Shaw, and she has been with me from the very beginning. Andrea is my senior master coach, but she started out as a client in 2017. And you all are going to love her. She's coming on right now. Andrea just has the best nurturing coaching energy. She's just a delight. And there she is.
Hi. Hey.
Andrea, I'm telling everyone how wonderful you are and just what a delight your energy is as a coach and as a person.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate you saying that.
Yes, I just love working with you. I love knowing you. I just mentioned that you were one of my very early clients when I first started gray area drinking coaching. You came to me about a year into coaching. I hadn't even done my TED Talk yet. And then a year later, I launched this coach training, and you were in the very first cohorts. So I want to talk about that with you. And you've just launched like so many coaches do. You've spread your wings and have done amazing things over the years working with clients. And you are now my senior master coach. And we want to talk about that. So there's so much to dig into with you and for people to hear about. So welcome. Let's start with your story, your gray area drinking story.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here today. So really, I think my gray area drinking story looks a lot like a lot of people that will be watching this. You know, it started with a lot of sort of internal questioning and a lot of like, this doesn't feel right, you know, but nobody was coming to me saying, there's a really big problem happening here, Andrea. It was very internal. The struggle was very, very personal and private also, because, you know, at first you do the questioning and then you do the knowing, right? You're sort of like, okay, this is actually like an issue, you know, and I need to get this under control. And so basically when I decided to stop, I knew that I needed some, you know, extra support. And that's why I don't even know how I found you. Maybe it was through Holly or something like that. I'm not really even sure, but
I think you heard me on the Home podcast.
That could be it.
And about 6 months after that interview, you came in and we started working together one-on-one.
Yeah, that sounds right. So, and basically I really wanted to learn a lot. Like I'm definitely a seeker, as are most of my clients, right? They come into this and they're like, okay, I know what needs to be done, just not really sure how to do it, or exactly the why, or the kind of just the ins and outs of like how to manage it, and also just the knowledge that you want to have about what's been happening and how your body changes and what changes are going to happen when you do take that tool out. And so I was super happy to work with you. I think I worked with you, I think it was like 3 months, right? Mm-hmm. I want to say it was 3 months. And so, yeah, that's just was sort of my journey. And then I just started to really love all the things I was learning. And so that's when I found Tempest at the same time, which was then hip sobriety. I started making a lot of friends that were on the path, which felt really good because at the time, everybody in my circle was a drinker. And so I didn't have anyone that really understood what I was going through besides you. And so that's great for that kind of acute period. But then after that, it's sort of like you're thrown into the deep end, and you just kind of have to start finding your people and finding people that get you. And so I was working, you know, it was doing the hip sobriety, and then I just latched on to Holly. And I was like, I need to be a part of this. I need to help other people. I need for people not to feel alone when they're on this journey, because that's one of the things I felt very isolated when I first stopped drinking. I think a lot of people do. And so it kind of became this personal mission, I guess, to like just walk as many people through those early stages as I can. So here I am.
Yeah, I remember working with you. You jumped right in because I think you came into coaching pretty fresh off drinking. Like there,
Day one. Day one.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like we had our first coaching call, and you drank the night before.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Which is actually often, common with clients stepping into coaching. And it's also very common what you did. Like when there's that right match with the coaching and the resourcing and the accountability, you were off and running, and you've never looked back and haven't had a drink since.
Yeah. And I just remember when I was talking to you, because I really was new and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just knew it was time to stop. And I remember you saying something, and I said something like, I'm just, I'm really worried I can't do it. I'm really worried it's not going to stick. I'm not going to be able to do it. And you said to me something along the lines of like, well, this obviously matters to you. This obviously is something that really, really matters to you. And that stuck with me, because I think sometimes you need to hear that, because you're just trying to just get some answers, and you're just trying to just get out of it. And you kind of forget that when you stop drinking, there's all the work that happens after you stop drinking alcohol. There's all that stuff too, which is then why I took the coach training. So.
Yeah. Which is what the gray area drinking coach training is. Because again, we're not coaches taking people through that acute withdrawal. There are services for that. If people need that, if they can't stop drinking, gray area drinking coaching really isn't the coaching for that. Now, many clients come in just like you, where they drank the night before and they start coaching the next day. But just like you, there's that readiness capacity. You're not going through physical withdrawal where you're like, shaking and that extreme level. You were ready. That's what the coaching is for. And then in that, there's the weeks, the months, and the years of that, all of these recalibration pieces, working with the nervous system. Just because we stop drinking doesn't mean any of those resources are available or in place. And so that's then what the whole coach training is. So a year later, then I launched my first training, and you were in that very first group, the very first pilot training group. What do you still carry with you from that? Because that was 2018.
Yeah, that feels like a lifetime ago. What do I carry with me? I mean, all of it, I guess. Like it's as even though it's a lot of information, I will say that anybody that's gone through your program, Jolene, is going to be like, that's a lot of information. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but in the long run, the resources are so good, because everybody that comes into coaching needs something different. No two clients are alike, and so that's why it's really hard when you are a coach to have a program per se. People sometimes ask me, like, what's your program? I don't have a program, because you're different than the person I just sat across the screen from an hour ago, right? And so having the access to you and to the others that were in that training at the time, and to all the information that I got, has been useful to me the entire time. And so I'm really grateful for it. And also, and this was kind of like an extra bonus, I guess, I did not realize how much I would use all of that information, like in life, just in my own sobriety, with my kids, like just the other day, my youngest was having kind of an overwhelming day. And I said, let's just go outside. It's so nice. Let's take our shoes off and walk barefoot in the grass, and let's see what happens. And he was getting it, right? We were calming the nervous system. We were doing something that's so simple, that low hanging fruit, that's really easy, but that just people need to be pointed to on their path. That these are just the easy things about this information that are so important to people that are in early sobriety, or even people that are years in.
Yeah, and pointed to with that sensitivity of what's in front of us. So your son and his constitution and the space he's in that moment. Just like as a coach, we know the story of our clients. We know where the preferences are, what's lighting them up. So it's not just, people are listening and they're like, okay, well, Jillian and Andrew talked about going out in the grass, so I'm going to go. Not necessarily. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily. Those of you who are listening, it depends.
Right.
And it depends on that comprehensive understanding of the nervous system, the biochemistry, the constitution, and the history that comes into this moment here and now. And so, like you said, Andrea, it's not a formula. So somebody you're talking to, it might be like, hey, I'm curious. If you took off your shoes right now, went out in your backyard and stood on the grass. But not everybody, because of the conversation, because of it's that co-regulation. And that's what we're learning in the training. It's not just spaghetti on the wall, like diffuse oils, do yoga, do
try something.
meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the problem. People know should do yoga, should meditate, and they're still drinking. And so the difference then with this training is that the biochemical individuality and getting to the root cause of working with each individual.
Yeah, it's so important. And it's like, I don't know many doctors, and I could be wrong, and I'm not saying anything bad about doctors. I love doctors, they're great. But I don't know a lot of doctors that spend 45 to 60 minutes in an appointment with their patient and ask things like, do you go to bed at the same time every night? Do you get enough fresh air? Do you get enough sunlight? And these are really important things that factor in to how we regulate our nervous system and whether or not we can move through a craving easier. And these are just questions that when you work with a coach, and then you are a coach that has that knowledge, you get to serve your clients so much better with having that.
Absolutely. And it's what the clients want. I mean, we're in a savvy marketplace. People are savvy. They listen to the podcast, they read the books. They, just like coaches coming into the training, they want the information. That's why I'm a fire hose with the information. Yeah. Because I load you all up with the library of resources so that, and then as you're in that dance with the client of where they are at different weeks, different months, different processes that they're in, you pull different things from that resource library. So after the training, tell everyone then what was next for you with your coaching and how things took off.
Yeah, so I worked for several years at Tempest, and I worked in the coaching program there. I worked with a wonderful woman named Whit Combs, and we kind of got things up and running there with the coaching program. And then after that, worked with a lot of wonderful people there that we coached in that Tempest method. And having the Nourish method training for the gray area drinkers in conjunction with all the other training that I had, and even the training that I did just with my life coaching training, that was really, really good foundation for me. And then I would say that the gray area drinking training just sort of just bumped it up a notch. You know what I mean? It just gave that extra kind of something that people need. So I worked at Tempest for a while, and then also had my own just coaching practice sort of going at the same time. I was only doing just a couple of clients at the time that I was working at Tempest. And then when I left Tempest, I kind of dove right into my own business. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And that's where I am now.
Yeah. And you are my senior head coach for the alumni group of the Master Gray Area Drinking Coaches, which is why, it's really fun to talk to you as these conversations with the coaches, because those of you who are coming into this next training, you'll have me as, training this content and the material around assessing gray area drinkers, the neurochemistry, the neurotransmitters, everything that people are talking about, really going into that science, the why, connecting it with the practice. So it's not just a random, here, go walk on the grass, right, but the science behind what's then happening in the nervous system, and a client that you might want to recommend that to, but a client that you may not want to recommend that to. So you get all of that detail, the data with me. And then Andrea does the client rounds, the case studies, and supports me in that way once you finish the training, but also during the training. So tell everyone about how you do that work.
Well, I love working with other coaches. There's something about people that are doing this work. There's just sort of like a camaraderie, and I love supporting people that have been doing this. I did a little bit of it at Tempest too, with new coaches, And I just love being in that role, because I've been doing this for a while. And so it's nice to sort of share things and then also see people develop. And I just love that aspect of it. I love working with new coaches. I just love it. And also, by the way, the new coaches that work in your program are also, they have their coaches coming into it. They already have some sort of level of coaching or training coming into it. So I have learned so much from not only the cohort that I was in 5 years ago, but then also just these new coaches that come through in the mastermind now. There are some really, really bright people, and everybody brings something different to the table, which is so awesome. Everyone has their speciality that they're really good at. And that is what I love to see. Everyone kind of has their own thing that they thrive doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I like doing these conversations, because those of you listening in can hear that and see that. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that unique differentiator. There are a lot of people jumping into this coaching pool, which is great. The visibility is out there. However, as you all will see on my coaching sales page, that the criteria coming in is that you're certified and licensed. And so like Andrea spoke to, there's that professional realm coming in. And then this is the professional development with the gray area drinking on top of it. So there's so much that people contribute professionally and really held as a coach, so that you're not just out there on your own working with clients. That the collaborative community within the mastermind with the master coaches is really supportive.
It's very supportive, and I think it's getting more and more robust as more people kind of come in, and I think people are starting to use it more. And we're really active on the Facebook group. People are coming in with their questions, and there's a collaborative thing going on there that's really, really supportive for me, even as a coach that's been around for a while, and then also for the new coaches. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah. So this is what you all get. You get my expertise of coaching. I've been in this industry since 2004, teaching, training, and then started working the coaching one-on-one while I was still training in the corporate world in 2009. Started working one-on-one with gray area drinkers in 2016. And Andrea was one of my very first clients. So she's been on that side of it as the client. She's trained as the coach, has been working with clients. And that's unique, because there's some coach training that people who are training aren't necessarily working with clients or haven't been working with clients for quite some time. Andrea and I we're in the trenches with clients. And so that boots to the ground piece is very, very beneficial, a practical application working with gray area drinkers, and you get it from both Andrea and I.
Yeah.
So Andrea, we were just talking a minute ago about just kind of, the benefit of professionally the coach going through this. Do you want to say a little bit more about the individual aspect of this training for the coach?
I just think that when you go through that, well, at least my journey was, I went through a pretty basic coach training that taught you how to be like a coach, right? Like it was motivational interviewing and SMART goals and all those really, really important things that are very foundational. And then I think what professionally this training has done for me was really help me kind of hone in on exactly what it is that the gray area drinker wants and needs to hear. And again, it's sort of that those easy but practical applications of things that people don't think of all the time. And that's kind of like what we're here for, is we learn those things by getting to know the client. We learn how to assess their needs, and then we can resource them appropriately with all the information that we have that comes from the training.
Yeah. I just want to talk more about the well, I mean, I know you've said to me just how the things that you've carried through, even personally,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to say more on that, and also kind of who you're working with, because both, you know, a lot of my client load is practitioners. So a lot of my one-on-one clients are coaches, therapists, social workers, nurses, doctors, acupuncturists, and I know you have the same experience as well.
Yeah, I definitely. I got two new clients this week, and they're both in those healing modalities. And I think it just goes to show that sometimes we don't exactly know the things that we can do to support ourselves, right? And especially if you're someone that's in that kind of service healing role where you're supporting other people, there's a drain on the system that can sometimes be overwhelming and we don't even see it, right? And so I've got these people coming into me. I've had nurses, I've had doctors, I have acupuncturists, yoga teachers, all these people that I think get to a place where their nervous systems are shot because all they do is give. And so one of the things I think is really important, and I didn't even realize this would be important, but is that the things I learned in the training are helpful to me just in life, just in my own tools and practices. And I think that's really huge, and important to realize how much that ripples down into your life, whether it's my son, taking a walk with him or no, whatever it is. But like, if you can regulate, then you can be a co-regulator, and then things are nice. And like, usually you can manage things that are happening around you, especially important probably for parents. I mean, I'm a parent, so that's big for me. It's a big factor. So
Right. And working with clients.
yeah, yeah, that's a
So,
given.
right. So, you know, this is my passion here, something I believe very much in. And it's not like, we need to stop turning a blind eye to the fact that the majority, you know, a lot of clients that we work with are in the healthcare field. And so then there's this piece of, and people will say it on Instagram when I post about it, about how practitioners need more of this information. And I hear it from client, you know, when I work one-on-one, is clients will say, I wish my therapist, I wish my doctor would have said, you're drinking too much. But what happens, and we hear it reflected back from clients all the time, is they're brushed off by their doctor, and it's like, oh, it's not like you're an alcoholic or anything. You don't need to worry about it. But the reality is if we're going to a support system that isn't supported and is drinking in the gray area, this cycle just continues. And so we need to stop this cycle. And where a lot of support is needed is with practitioners. And so that's what's happening. And that's a lot of what Andrea provides in this training. She does the case studies, and then supporting the coach in really, you know, doing that work. But some of the work is for themselves too. And that's a unique piece of this training. And like I said, it's something I'm very passionate about, because if we're going to serve others, and especially hang the shingle and be talking about working with gray area drinkers, you all out there, the coaches that you're hiring, you want to hear what those coaches are doing to regulate their nervous system. It's important. And it's very important, you know, a philosophy of mine and the foundation of this training. So you know that if you're working with coaches who have trained under me, they have that agency, that awareness, and that intention of doing their own work first. And if they're talking about embodiment with you and talking about their nervous system with you, it's not just talk and cognitive. They've had that experience of doing it themselves. And so Andrea really, really supports you with that. And you get that from Andrea when you come into the training. So, I'm just going to let you run with this, Andrea, because I've been a little tight-lipped about it. But
Okay.
what have we not touched on that you want to say more about at this
Okay.
point?
Well, I would probably like to say that, as we are kind of building the community of coaches, we are also doing some things behind the scenes. Not really allowed to talk about it, but I will say that this is a really good time and opportunity for a new coach, because the things that are kind of developing here behind the scenes are going to set new coaches up for a lot of kind of just sort of easy marketing and easy exposure. And so those are things that I actually didn't really have coming out of the training when I first did it 5 years ago. But now those are things that are going to really help people kind of amp up their business probably a little quicker and sooner than maybe they would even expect. And so I think that in and of itself is a gigantic benefit, just knowing that there are going to be things coming up that give the new coach the opportunity to be seen and to get their specialties out there.
Yes. Thank you. Big announcements coming soon. Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. Lots of exciting things happening in the Gray Area Drinking Resource Hub and community. Like Andrea said, as the years have gone on, there's more foundation under us and things are happening. And it's what I've said. I was interviewed on 2 podcasts this week, and I said both times, I said, if there's ever a time to not drink, now is the time. The support, the fact that there's these alcohol-free bars and the industry is jumping in, alcohol-free beer and drinks and communities, people, different influencers are talking about not drinking, completely different than it was 5 years ago. And also from the coach perspective, because of this momentum and kind of the legs that we have under us, things are coming, things are happening. There's some big announcements within the Gray Area Drinking sphere. Some this is where you're wanting to really like hone your coaching and work with that particular demographic, there's some really fun opportunities for your skills to be utilized. So submit your applications.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Andrea, what else? I
don't know. I just happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of the training with the coaches. Like, I love working with our master coaches. Are just like, they're such a cool group right now, and I'm really excited about working with them in the ways that I am. And I love everybody. It's just been a lot of fun working with this group right now.
I agree. The groups that come in, they always align right up. Like, it's just kind of the perfect, it's like, oh, these are my people.
Yeah.
And there's so much benefit of keep the group small and intimate, so you're not lost on a Zoom screen with 100 people. People really bond, get to know each other, collaborate, support each other. People have gone off and done podcasts together, done different projects because they met in the Gray Area Drinking coach training. And just that support and camaraderie of, it's not that competitive atmosphere. It's a collaboration. Everyone's supporting each other, personally and professionally.
Yeah, because everyone has different things that they're great at and that they love to focus on. And I think that's why there's no competition at all. I mean, there are plenty of times that I get clients that come in that we don't think for whatever reason, and I refer them out to another Gray Area Drinking coach, and that doesn't feel like a loss to me. That feels like a gain for the client. We want the client to have exactly what they're looking for. And we have so many different coaches right now that have so many different things that they emphasize in their coaching, that everyone can sort of find what they're looking for, which is like really unique, I think.
Absolutely. And again, I'm really proud of that's what's been built here, of not only when you work with a Gray Area Drinking coach that's been trained under me, you have that licensing, that certification, that foundation of professionalism. But then they have the background with the data and the specific what and the how of really working with the body. And there's just that, and then the collaboration. So many kind of resources, professional support, and their own agency. It's a really unique blend when coaching is kind of a dime a dozen right now. And I would encourage people to have that discernment when choosing a coach. But I feel very proud of the coaches that are in our collective at this point.
Yeah, I feel lucky.
Yes. Does anybody have a question for Andrea or for me? There's a couple of you on. It's nice thanks for joining live. If anybody wants to type in the chat, we're happy to answer any questions. I just came from, I just did cryotherapy for the first time. Have you ever done that, Andrea?
No, but I have recently started taking cold showers, and I'm up to like 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes. and like I'm gonna be good here for a little while. But tell me about cryo, because I really don't know about that. But I will tell you that the cold showers, it's something.
All right, so we're going to just kind of jam on what we're doing for our own nervous system
Yeah.
regulation right now. And again, if you guys want to pop a question in. So I love the heat. I love the infrared sauna. And the center that I go to, they have compression therapy and red light therapy and cryo and infrared. So today I got brave and I was worried about it, but I went in for, it was 2 minutes. And so you go in the chamber and there's just so much like dry, it's not dry ice, but whatever, the steam, and then I got to pick a song that I like there. So that helped to have the music. But I was surprised. I liked it. I didn't think I'd like it. I hate cold. It's why I moved away from Colorado in the winter. But I really liked it. It was really energizing. And then from there, I went into the infrared sauna and felt, I mean, now I'm a little amped because we're talking and I'm like, on Instagram Live. But I was like, ooh, I can feel that calm between the cold and the hot. I'm gonna do it regularly. And they have a cold plunge outdoor, like a tank that I'm gonna get brave and try that. But I think that's gonna be harder.
Yeah, I think that's going to be way harder. I mean, there's a difference between standing in a shower for like 2.5 minutes and actually putting the entire body in the cold. And I have a lot of friends that do it and they just swear by it. And I'm going to work up to it, but right now I'm not there. But I will.
I've tried cold showers. I don't like them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm crazy to think I'm going to get into a tank with ice and freezing water.
Right.
Yeah. but I have had the effect. Like I noticed that euphoric effect. Like then it's like you get that warmth throughout and it does feel good.
It feels great. I like it. I like the effects for sure. I like it. Because I feel when I do it, I definitely feel like I get more focused and like just more kind of like clear, I guess. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. So we'll see how it goes. But I do sauna too. And I love sauna.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of my, I don't know, I guess if I asked Sheila that, or did I ask Sheila? Yeah, but one of the coaches, and I'll ask you, what are you doing kind of right now for your nervous system regulation? And I would say that kind of that cold hot therapy is, I'm enjoying that.
Yeah,
it's a fun thing right now.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot more Epsom salt baths in the evenings. And more sauna and the cold showers are sort of like the thing I've been doing. And also I've been, I listen to a lot of Huberman, as I know you do. And so he is so into like the early morning sunshine. And so I have a new puppy, which means I'm outside a lot because she's, she needs to be outside a lot. So I'm trying to really get out there first thing in the morning and get that like natural sunlight, even though it's not super sunny here all the time, but still that like natural exposure in the early morning hours. And I'm enjoying that. I definitely, I wouldn't say I'm seeing radical effects, but I feel good. I feel good. So
yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Thanks, Andrea. As you guys can see, like I said when we started, I just love her dynamic energy, and she's just got this nurturing essence about you, Andrea, that just makes you such a beautiful coach and such a beautiful support to coaches. And it's why she is my senior master coach in my training, supporting you if you're hopefully coming in for this next cohort. So the next cohort begins April. Karen Campbell says she loves you too. She's easy to love. So then the next training comes begins April 3rd. Submit your application now. The link is in my bio. I'll put it in my stories later today. And I'm setting up interviews. So if you are a coach who wants to niche in and learn the specifics with the physiology, the biochemistry, the nervous system to really support your clients so they can get off the gray or drinking merry-go-round and thrive, like Andrea. I mean, she stopped drinking in 2017, and I mean, everything and I see this with coaches who go through the training, like they just launch. They come through the training and so much happens. So if you're ready for that, if you're listening, we would love, both Andrea and I would love to work with you. And like Andrea said, and I will announce more very soon. But there are some really fun things ahead this year where we are needing more gray area drinking coaches. So this is the time to come in for the training. The time's now. All right, so Andrea, you've got so much love in here.
I love it. I love you all too. Thanks, people. It was good to be here with you, Jolene. Thanks so much.
Yes, I'm just so blessed to have you and walk alongside you on this journey, and I love having you as my master coach here, senior master coach. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Oh, and as always, I always say, on these lives that if you want to reach out to Andrea directly and just hear a little bit more, all of my alumni coaches are very open and willing to talk with you about the training.
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about this. Like, I could be here all day, Jolene. But yeah, if someone has any questions, just feel free to on Instagram, I'm Andrea Marie Coaching, and you can send me just a quick DM and we'll set up a time to chat. I'm happy to do that with anybody, always.
So I'm gonna put your Instagram handle below, okay, so people can follow you and learn more. In your bio, they can get to your website, and you are doing one-on-one coaching now as well, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yep. So she's available if you're looking for a one-on-one coach. She's a wonderful coach to work with.
So. Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another coach.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.